A pleasure it is to welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR a neighbor. Great parents, Jim and Chris Mestaw, and we've known him here in this area because he lives here as JT Mestaw. But somewhere along the way, that name got to be very difficult nationally for people to remember and understand. And so JT was advised that it might not be a bad idea to change his professional name to Jester, JT Jester. In fact, you can find him at jtjester.com or the JT Mestaw Foundation.org or right here on the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR. JT, good morning.
Paul, thank you so much for having me.
I love the whole idea of the book, No Bad Days, How to Find Joy in Any Circumstance. Way to go, JT.
Thank you so much. It's been a fun journey, and No Bad Days has been a really fun time right now.
Now, let me just give you a little of the background in case you don't know it. And for those of us who get a hangnail and go, oh, man, I got a hangnail. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work today. Well, I exaggerate, but listen to this. By the time JT Jester was 3 years old, he had spent 250 days in the hospital. He had endured 16 major surgeries before he was 16. On top of his physical challenges, he suffered dyslexia, short-term memory loss, which made learning nearly impossible for him. But yet he achieved what many people told him he would never do. He learned to read. He graduated from high school. He graduated from college. And now is a successful motivational speaker, influential podcast host, and best-selling author. I just wanted people to know that this was not an easy journey for you, JT, and yet, through it all, you are the quickest guy with a smile of anybody I know.
Well, thank you. And just to give a little background on how No Bad Days came about is No Bad Days is a time when I was in the hospital and my dad came in my room and leaned over my bed and said, JT, I'm sorry you're going through this. And I turned back to him and I said, Dad, it's okay. There are no bad days. There's only hard days, and we get through those. And it's so true that we all have those hard days in our life, and this book really highlights lots of individuals of how they've overcome hardship and how they've gotten through it and the team that they've put behind them to do it.
Well, the way that you use your own life experiences and then other people's stories as well, we are reminded that truly there are no bad days and that we should never give up. And for that, I'll always be thankful to you for the inspiration that you have and that you do in your podcast. And certainly you have captured in this new book, No Bad Days, How to Find Joy in Any Circumstance, JT Jester. Now, tell us about the Jester name change from Mestaw. I know Mestaw is difficult, but how did it come about?
Yeah, so Jester came about from, again, another time that I was in the hospital. Some of the nurses and doctors, when I'd come out of anesthesia, they would say that I always made them laugh, and I'd always come up with a smile on my face. And then there was a book that came about in the hospital, and the book was called A Jester Who Lost His Jingle. And the long story short is this jester is working for the king, and he cannot make the king laugh anymore, and he goes on to work in a hospital. And he brings so much joy to the kids in the hospital that the king realizes this and comes back and realizes that he needs the jester, needs to help the jester help these kids. And it's just a really cool story. And so that's how Jester came about, and it's been in our family for a long time, and my nickname.
Ah, there you go. A little of the background information. And by the way, JT was on with us talking about one of his last books, Untether, Inspiration for Living Free and Strong, no matter what the challenge. I didn't know you also wrote a book called How the Sailfish Got Its Name. We never talked about that one.
Yes, and that one actually is coming out here very soon, and I'm very excited about it. It's a children's book and has a really fun artwork in it and a fun story. So, you're very excited about that.
Excellent. And and this book is on Forefront Books. It's available wherever you buy books in a good old-fashioned bookstore, and we try to go to all the small ones that are struggling to still be around, but you can also get it online, I would guess, JT.
Correct, yes, through jtjester.com, and also, like you said, where books are sold, Barnes & Noble, and then as well as Amazon and other retailers.
So what would you, if you were to boil it all down, and that's not easy, but what would you want to be the main thing, the main goal of the book, the main thing you want those of us who are going to read No Bad Days would take away from this book?
Yeah. So this book, my goal is that it brings some inspiration and some joy to getting through hard times, and it does it really through storytelling. And I think it's so important because we all have a story. We all have a story that we need to share. I always say that being able to share my stories, has been able to get me through those hard times, because being able to open up to someone else allows them to open up to you, and in return, you can support each other and help each other through the hard times, as well as be there for each other in the good times too.
And as you say in No Bad Days, the lessons include how to find your tribe, pull off the label, stretch yourself, listen to others, and learn to fall.
Yes, and I think it's so important that we all find our tribe, find those people that are going to help propel us to where we want to be. As my grandma always said, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And I think that that's so powerful, and it really encapsulates the idea of finding your tribe.
You know, it occurs to me as we learned over the holidays that your grandpa had written a book. And I haven't talked to you guys since then, and the family, and it's a wonderful book. I can't remember the title of it.
Yes, and it is. It's been a fun journey for him to write that, and it's A Wheelbarrow and a Shovel.
That's
the name of that book, and that's another storytelling experience of his journey and overcoming, living the American dream, really.
Yeah, and you tell everyone who Grandma and Grandpa is. They're pretty famous around here.
Well, John and Marlene Bowl, and they love this town and this city, and really, love this area.
Their name is on YMCA's and retirement homes and all kinds of things, and they have given back to the community so many times, just as you are now, JT. Thanks for this. Good luck on No Bad Days, How to Find Joy in Any Circumstances. JT Jester. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Paul.
All right, thank you, JT. God bless you.
God bless you.
Think about this, Sean and Ann. By the time he was 3 years old, as I said in the opening of this discussion, by the time he was 3 years old, he had spent 250 days in the hospital. He underwent 16 surgeries before he was 16. He had every reason to fail. These are not even excuses like a lot of us have, lame excuses. He had plenty of legitimate excuses to fail, but he has not. He has done everything they said he couldn't do. He learned to read. He graduated from high school and college. He's become very successful, and I couldn't be more proud of him.